Easily one of the most popular things I've ever seen in my career. This is one of the Geo Pros by Rockwood, the 19FD to be specific, comes in at 2,870 pounds, which is pretty much the exact same weight as one of those little 6.5 foot wide teardrop campers. But here, you're getting integrated solar, you're getting a wider 7-foot body with the normal trailer profile that actually allows for like overhead cabinetry versus that funny teardrop shape, which really doesn't allow for much of anything in the way of storage. You know, nose cap, we've got AZDEL, the nicer more ride steps, bigger power awning, the Max Air vent fan in the bathroom, and the roof cover. This is one of the ultimate little couples camping machines I've ever seen. And what's crazy is these generally come in for less money than one of the teardrop type campers that are out there as well, which is probably one of the reasons that I've had to wait till almost halfway through the year to finally get a video of one of these, because as soon as they come in, they've been pre-sold. So grab the popcorn, hang on, enjoy the ride. This is going to be a fun one. And these were popular right out of the gate, but it is this beautiful light decor, this very modern residential looking decor that really helped these things hit the ground running. When they first came out, they had a little bit darker driftwood tone, and they very quickly realized the smaller the camper, the more a brighter interior makes a difference. So Geo Pros actually have an interior different from anything else at Rockwood. Nothing else at Rockwood has this wood tone. This being their smallest trailer, they said we need to give it the biggest, brightest look. Now, another thing that they have a little bit different from most of Rockwood construction is this vaulted ceiling. Now, all Rockwood's travel trailers have some degree of vaulted ceiling. It's usually a 2.5-inch vault. This has a very aggressive 5-inch vault to it, which normally you can't do on a laminated roof. This is all aluminum structured, all laminated in the walls, the roof. Well, what they did is it's actually two 2.5-inch arch sections that are effectively merged in the middle to give you a 5-inch roof vault. I don't know of another ultralight trailer that's doing this. And in a small camper like this, it makes the greatest difference because it makes this little space feel not so little. But remember, despite being larger than those teardrops that are actually less body and have less interior height and size than this, this is not heavier and this is not more expensive. Rockwood is able to overcome those things due to just the huge volume that they produce as the single largest producer of laminated product out there. Now, just like the rest of Rockwood, when you see LED lights in here, they're all high intensity. So this little thing really lights right up, and especially in contrast with the light wood tones, it is like a Christmas tree in here. Now, we are carpetless. We are easy cleaning, which is one of the coolest parts about these Geo Pros. Is well, other than the carpet square I pushed over here to wipe my feet off, there's just nothing in here in carpet. But, you know, sitting here during the day, you've got this rear-facing sofa, which just adds extra seating space. It's very good for either couples on a rainy day, or if you're going to entertain friends or something like that. But what do you do at night? And when it's time to call it a night, the 19FD here has this secret weapon, one-piece locking Murphy bed mechanism, just like its big brother, the Rockwood Mini Lite. And this has proven to be the single most popular Murphy bed system there in the entire marketplace. I think there's a lot of little reasons for it. First of all, the fact that it's a one-piece folding Murphy bed like this, a one-piece Murphy bed, means just like you see the straps on here, you don't have to make the bed every morning and every night. You don't have to drop the bed and then put on the sheets and then put on the blankets. All you do is drop the bed and go to bed. That's all you have to do with this. So it's simpler and easier, and it keeps in mind the fact that recreational vehicles are supposed to be about recreation. They're supposed to be fun and simple and easy. But Rockwood has always stayed up to date on the safety aspects of their Murphy bed, which is why this has a locking mechanism. You can't just grab this and lift it up. It'll actually stop you. You have to pull this out to disengage the lock and then lift it up. It's very simple. And if you notice, it has these gas struts right here to make lifting it very simple. My grandmother can manipulate this thing, not a problem. You also find that when we fold it down into a Murphy bed, just like any walk-around bed, you've got side stands with outlets, we've got the dual individual hanging closets, and over here there is headboard-mounted outlets up there, and they're mounted back far enough where, like, if you have a CPAP machine or a phone charger plugged in, you're not going to break the charger by putting the bed away. You also have USB outlets, in like what I grew up calling a cigarette lighter outlet. I think it's just called a PowerPoint now. I'm not exactly sure what the name of it is. But the point is, this is the simplest, easiest, most functional, quickest to set up, quickest to put away bed system out there. And just in the way it comes down, it folds right back and goes out of the way. So things like that overhead cabinetry right there above the dinette, that is an area where, again, the more traditionally shaped body of a GeoPro in comparison to something like a teardrop, this is another one of those areas where, there's a check in their favor. Teardrops have some of their own advantages, for sure. I'm not trying to be anti-teardrop. We still carry some teardrop campers here at Haylett RV, but we have found more and more and more people leaning this way, and I think it's because they realize that teardrop shape of a camper, it's very aesthetically cute, but it's very non-functional. You can't put overhead cabinets in something that has a big angled sweep. But when it has a more linear roof profile, it's obviously vaulted outside, but when it has a consistent height across, you can build cabinetry for that. So you're gaining extra storage here that you otherwise wouldn't. Now, there are TV options available, and adding TVs is one of those things that we have found more and more people are less and less interested in getting a factory installed TV, because since the cost of things like flat screen TVs has gone down so much, we at Haylett RV, if you really want a TV for this camper, no sweat. I can go across the street to the big box store of your choice. I can buy the TV, the wall bracket, and I can pay a tech to install it for less than the factory can do it. So this is one of those areas where we have begun to adjust our policies and processes here at Haylett RV with the idea of always having the best value for a customer in mind. Now, there is a neat thing with the TV option you can get in a GeoPro is that it can be a 12-volt TV, which means it can work off an inverter, or rather off battery power and be used off the grid. We've also found that a lot of off-grid campers, though, are less inclined to be interested in TVs. Now, if you like what you see on a GeoPro, but you're like, I don't care, I want the factory TV installed, we can call the factory and get a TV sent for you for the camper we have here, or we can just have one built to your specs within the manufacturer's allowances, obviously. All of those things are things we can do. Now, something that you really can't see, but you can see outside, is this switch right here. The Wi-Fi Ranger. Basically, this RV has a built-in router and a signal repeating access point, which can make getting mobile internet easier. If you'd like more information on that, give our guys a call, or we've done separate videos on that topic entirely. Let's see. Let's take a look at the sleeping area over here. If you look up top, we already looked at all that storage. Now, as we come down, you see that big door side window. All of these have night roller shades, like some luxury fifth wheel built into them. And obviously this dinette right here can fold down into a little bonus sleeper. So this is a good couples camper. But let's say it's grandpa and grandma, or you're a family who has like one small child. Well, this can fold down into an additional sleeping space. Now, if you're as tall as I am, you're probably not going to be incredibly comfortable on this. It's not made for permanent bunk use. It's made for kind of like in a pinch overnight use, but it gets that job done very well. Now, I talked about how this is completely carpetless, so there's a nice shot of that right there. At first glance, when you're in small campers, you don't really think of them too much for the kitchen space. And at first glance, you look at this and you're like, yeah, that is pretty small. But, like with most things with Rockwood, there's more than meets the eye. Now, for a little camper, this has an incredibly detailed kitchen. Just like all Rockwoods, overhead cabinet doors, anywhere at Rockwood, they're always going to be strutted so you don't have to juggle them open with your head. Now, even here at their smallest, trailer size, you still have nicer lumber core cabinet styles that are pocket screwed together, not particle board that's been stapled together. Just despite the fact that it's small, despite the fact that it's less expensive than the bigger Rockwoods, it's not built to a lesser degree. Rockwood has always really shined because they build everything the same way every single time, and that's really true here too. And this is one of the most efficient uses of space I've really seen in modern RV design in a long time. Having that microwave right here above this combination fridge freezer, because you see it does have a freezer drawer on top. A lot of people don't realize that when you don't have two doors, it doesn't mean that it's not a fridge and freezer. Now, someone's asked before, well, can you put the 6 cubic foot fridge in here? And you really can't, because you would have to sacrifice the microwave to do it. If after market you really felt like removing the microwave to do it, you probably could, but that's not how it can come from the factory. Nicer fixtures here, like they have a recessed stove top, and you see that we have this wing out countertop right here to maximize your potential prep space. So again, it's a little camper that becomes as big as possible in any way that it can. And frankly, this little flip-up countertop there, it's not too far from the couch. So if you are sitting at the couch and you want a place to set down a drink without having to twist around and use the side stand behind you, it's very convenient for that. Now you will find they put outlets wherever they could here. Laminated side trailers they cannot put, because if the total depth of this outlet, it goes back further into the cabinet. That's actually potentially deeper than the wall. So to maintain, you know, proper build codes, they do need to install those in the cabinetry. Now, something that I'm a big proponent of, but I know that not everyone is this way, but it is just the way that mini lights are, pardon me, not mini lights, but GeoPros are generally put together here, is no oven to maximize their total cabinetry space. Typically speaking, if someone's in a smaller camper like this, they don't tend to do a lot of interior RV cooking. And I know that for every rule or every guideline, there are exceptions. I understand that, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we carry so many different trailers here at Haylett RV. And that's really more of what something like our smaller Winnebagos or, you know, the Rockwood mini lights, the big brother to this, might come into if you are looking to be that, like, you know, mobile campsite cook. But otherwise, especially, I mean, they really opened up every ounce of this that they could. They did a great job, even below that double cabinet door right there, opening up the pocket below so that there's just not an ounce of space gone to waste here in a GeoPro. So the kitchen being covered, let's head back to the rear bathroom, which is really the final part of this. Now, again, small campers don't usually have the largest bathrooms, but they've got this toilet mounted on a little bit of an angle right here, so you actually have decent legroom, even for a bigger fella like me. Now, there's one really cool feature I really want to focus on here, and it's something you just don't really see a lot of in the industry, and that is the AquaView water saving system right here. It's this extra little valve right there, and it's found virtually nowhere else in any sort of mainstream common class camper. A few, like, boondocking specific built type trailers have something like this, but this one's it's very uncommon. What it is, guys, you don't use this when you're park camping. You use this when you're dry camping. If you're taking a shower, or if you're boondocking, guys, every single ounce of drop of water counts. Every bit of it matters, and you don't want to waste any of it, because that means getting more water back to the camper can be difficult. So what you do if you are boondocking and you're using the 12-volt water pump to give yourself a shower, you flip this little valve, and what it will do is the water that would be coming out of this faucet actually gets recycled back into the freshwater tank. So that when you're ready to start, you know, soaping up or rinsing off again, you flip the switch back to where you had it, and the water can start pumping out for you. And you're thinking, yeah, but I could have just shut the valves off. And you could. But in the meantime, you're fiddling with the hot and the cold water, trying to get it back to where you want it, and you're wasting potential water from your very precious water tank when you're boondocking. This allows you to keep your knobs where you left them and keep the water at the temperature you want, and just turn the water off and on. And that is a very cool feature you don't tend to find a lot of out there. Now, as we're over here, oh, by the way, and the reason you don't want to use this when you're park camping, you're getting your water from the spigot outside. If you flip that switch, you're actually going to start filling up your freshwater tank with this thing. And what that can cause, guys, is an overflow of your freshwater tank, and that can cause a problem. So you only use this when you're boondocking. Now, you can see that one of the benefits of a laminated roof, and Rockwood does this to great effect on all their campers, really, is it allows them to place a skylight wherever they want. So even a tall guy like me, I need my head in the bubble, but I can fit. And that's what's kind of cool about this little bitty camper right here, is that it is, you know, it's a smaller camper, but it can be appropriate for larger folks. Now, they could have just gone with a mirror on the wall, but that ain't Rockwood. That's not what Rockwood does. Rockwood goes all the way every single time. Even the extra little things like they do in the rest of the Mini and the Ultra and the Signatures, with like the toothbrush and the little soap holders and stuff, so that you don't waste any of this precious countertop space that you do have back here. It's obviously, they look at countertop space like it's a resource, and they want to make sure that you maximize your access to that resource. So, foot flush toilet and a huge bonus cabinet here in the bathroom. So in a way, this could kind of be like pantry or linen space or extra clothes or whatever you want here. And just like their big fifth wheels, the Signature Series fifth wheels, they still have a max air vent fan with the roof vent cover on this, so you can use that for rainy day airflow. And that's exactly the reason that this door is slotted right here. A lot of times people think that they must have measured the door wrong. This is totally by intention, because you can leave this door closed, and you can leave your bedroom windows open and turn on that bigger max air vent fan. And as heat rises, it will suck the heat off the top of the camper and exhaust it out of the camper and recycle nicer, cooler air in through the bedside windows so that you can enjoy a better night's sleep. Isn't that smart? Now, one of the biggest things to talk about on the outside of this little GeoPro is something you really can't see at all, and that's AZDEL. And amazingly, Rockwood hasn't really gone out of their way to tell people about that. It's an awesome material that helps keep, like, you're gonna ask, how is this thing bigger than a teardrop, but it doesn't weigh more? And AZDEL is a huge part of that equation. So basically, under anything that's pretty much anything that's laminated on this, you're going to find an AZDEL layer. If you're not familiar with AZDEL, it is a resin instead of a wood component. It is lighter weight. It can't rot, mold, mildew. It has a slightly better R value, meaning insulative quality, not major, but it's slight. I'll take what I can get. Doesn't mean this is a Four Seasons camper. I'm not trying to oversell this thing. I'm just letting you know what it is. And it has a little bit of a noise reduction quality, so it's a little bit quieter inside the Rockwood, which is one of the things I like about recording, so you don't hear a lot of ambient noise. So that is a major component in how this thing is bigger than a teardrop, but doesn't weigh more. Now, AZDEL's a more expensive component, so why isn't this camper more expensive? Simply stated, because Rockwood is the biggest in the ultralight world, and they can buy things at volumes that nobody else can match, and they can just literally throw their weight around. And it's one of the reasons I like being on the winning side of that equation as being a Rockwood dealer. There's benefits to working with the guy who's the #1 in their category and has been, nobody even tracks how long it's been. Rockwood's been the #1 laminated tray for I don't even know how long. Now, if we look at the top here, this is an optional piece of equipment. You can barely see it, but this has an integrated solar panel on it. And it is one of the things that you can do on this GeoPro that you just can't do anywhere else. And it makes it one of the best dry camp, boondocking, off-grid, whatever you want to call it, campers I think I've ever seen. You know, they are pre-staged to be able to accept more batteries than some small campers. They're built for that purpose. Also low profile air conditioner. So this has a bigger, powerful air conditioner, the full 13,500 BTU air, but they use a low profile model. It's a little more expensive, but it also decreases your overall exterior height, which makes this thing a lot easier to get into some overhead doors and campsites that maybe have low hanging branches. One thing people might miss, I don't want you to miss, is a spare tire. This does include a spare tire. They belly mount it to keep it out of the sun, wind, rain, weather, etc. There's basically a simple little drop mechanism you can use to get to it. The good news about it being down here, though, guys, is that it's going to be a fresh spare tire when you get to it, as opposed to some spare tires I see people store in the bumper with no cover. The sun might have the thing sun rotted before you even put it on, and then what good is a spare tire doing you if it's already garbage? The MORryde step above stable steps here with the adjustable foot pegs, these things have become such a big deal. You see them all over luxury fifth wheels, and there's a couple different brands that use these, like the Cherokee Wolf Pup builds very similar size campers. Like this is a very similar layout to the 16 FD Wolf Pup that we have here at Haylett RV. But where that is more of like the common class camper, this is more of like the luxury edition version of it. Like power awning with LED lighting below. We have an anti-slam entry door with a keyless entry pad. Because this is an off-grid camper, chances are you're probably wanting to go biking or kayaking or hiking or whatever. This is one of the best base camp type campers I've ever seen. So you don't have to have keys in your pocket that you might lose. Now, windy day, or if you flip the door like I just did, it doesn't slam shut. And then you got the little auto retract sort of screen band right here, so that you've just got a easier handling screen door to keep the bugs out. You can keep the door open and it won't slam against the side of the trailer. Of course, I actually have to, you know, clip it shut that way. But the idea there, again, being simpler and easier. Frameless windows are going to be standard on these. Normally, the one downfall of frameless windows is they do generally get less airflow than sliding windows, which is one of the reasons Rockwood puts that larger max air vent fan on this, to overcome that one possible deficiency. So everything they do on this is very thoughtful and premeditated. That full nose cap is standard on this. Now, some GeoPros don't have nose caps for various reasons, like the little 12-foot box that they have. Well, it's smaller. It doesn't need a nose cap, and nobody builds a nose cap to fit something that size. Now, a 7-wide camper like this, it's very easy to put a nose cap on, but there's a real critical difference. You notice how that cap actually wraps over the roof line. It's not just stuck on the front of the camper, it actually sleeves over the top to protect the front termination strip, which is where the roof ends and the front wall begins. And extra little things like that Rockwood does are probably the reason that I don't know that we've ever really seen any of these GeoPros back in the shop for anything beyond maybe a cabinet hinge adjustment. It's been pretty, like, non-existent. We've had almost no service history on these, despite how popular and how many of these we've sold. The chassis on this is different from the rest of the Rockwoods. This is on an aircraft style chassis. It's a Z-frame. It's lighter weight. It's not less expensive, but anytime I've ever noticed a camper built on this kind of chassis, like our Winnebagos, our Passports, these Rockwood GeoPros, they just generally almost never come back for service. And I think it's like, if you want a good house, you start with a good foundation. And they've got one of the best foundations available in the industry. Sometimes single axle, I call them mini campers, they don't have front stabilizer jacks because the product developer says, well, it's small enough, you don't need it. BS. I'm calling BS on that. Your front bed is up here, and every time you roll over in bed, you don't want the trailer to wiggle, so having those front jacks, and notice that they're full, heavier duty scissor jacks, not single leg stab jacks, even better. Now, because it is a small camper, maybe some people are going to try to move it into a garage, they include the little tongue wheel for the tongue jack on that to make parking this thing by hand super simple. Black tank flush, outside hot and cold utility shower, stuff like that. Just extra little outdoor convenience utility stuff is worth its weight in gold. Aluminum wheels are going to be standard on these. Torsion axle, torsion suspension. What that means is that if you're going around a corner at high speeds, instead of the trailer trying to lean and pull you off the road, it will actually try to push itself back flat, and this thing will try to corner like it's on rails. Now, for safety and lack of maintenance and just being better overall, because that's just what Rockwood tries to do all over the place, we have all LED tail and marker lights. These are set up for backup or observation cameras. Give us a call if you like the explanation of the difference between those. Sometimes people ask, because it's available from the factory, why don't we put it on from the factory? Some people want it, some people don't, and we can install them for the exact same price as they do from the factory here at our store for the folks that want them. So everybody wins, basically. There's a good look at that roof vent cover on top of that Max Air vent fan. So again, you can leave that open on a rainy day if you want that extra airflow. Now, these will always be prepped for roof mount solar. We like to apply that option to them. And here's the cool thing. Even if you add the bumper or the roof integrated solar panel like we've done here, it is still prepped for a bumper mount portable solar panel. So you can actually have twin solar trickle chargers going on 2 different batteries at the exact same time. That is just awesome. Like I said, this is one of the best boondocking off-grid campers I think I've ever seen. Now, one of the questions people have all the time is they say, hey, your website says it's 20 feet. You know, how much is it? How much is the real length of it? It's 20 feet from like tip of the tongue to back of the bumper. They built it with that mark in mind. They said, okay, we've got this much space. We're going to keep it at that and not go an ounce more, and we have to work within it. And this is what they came up with, and it is just dynamite. I'm missing something. Oh, gas grill quick connect and side mount grill over here. So you have the option of throwing all kinds of various different outside grill varieties on here, whether you want a portable like Coleman type grill, whether you want like a black RVQ type grill. It still has the portable quick connect down there. You still have your mount point over here. You can do anything and everything you like with this little guy, which is probably why so many different people, whether you're a park camper, a boondocker, a person who floats in between, this series of trailer has had more widespread appeal to it than I think anything else I've seen in such a long time. And again, when you then factor in the fact that this is bigger in every way, except for total exterior length, you know, it's bigger in width. It's got greater interior height for cabinetry and headspace versus one of the more traditional teardrop style campers that you see out there. And that it doesn't weigh anything more, and it literally costs less. Guys, it's hard not to love them, I guess, which is probably why they've been so darn successful. So if you'd like to see about putting one of these on the back of your vehicle or in your driveway, give us a call here at Haylett RV. We only do everything, whether it's hitching, pieces, parts, trades, financing, truck and trailer package deals, RV delivery, and everything between. But we don't do hidden fees. We don't do that. You know, the price tag includes your propane fill, and it includes a battery, water and electric surge protectors, showing you how it works, cleaning it. We don't charge you extra for things that should just be done. So if that sounds easier, more fun, fair to you, give us a call and find out why so many people are joining on the Haylett family here. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.